US President Donald Trump has announced his Liberation Day tariffs, which will have widespread effects on global trade.
Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers.
Specifically, Mr. Trump announced meat exports will shortly be subjected to a 10% tariff, with no ban on Australian red meat, and Australian trade with the US will continue. Farmer and president of the Australian Food Sovereignty Alliance, Tammy Jonas, has weighed in on the impact Trump's tariffs will have on the meat industry in Australia and abroad.
We have so many other trading partners that they've put retaliatory tariffs on that are much higher than the 10% on Australia. And those markets are going to look to Australian beef. So we actually think potentially you're going to see higher levels of export to other countries that would quite like to backfill their US gap with Australian beef. If we're right, we think that actually those markets that are going to absorb Australian beef as a retaliation against the US, they're not going to try and continue buying from the US because they've had these tariffs put on their own exports. And so in that regard, in buying up the Australian stuff, we could see prices rise here because if our exports actually increase as a result of this to the other countries, then so do domestic prices increase. Once you have higher exports, you have higher domestic prices. Look at gas. 80% of the gas produced in this country is exported, and our gas prices are ridiculously high. We export so much of it that Japan on-sells some of it while we say we don't have enough access. And that's the same thing that's happening with meat.
Conversely, Ms. Jonas believes that outside the multinational corporations, US-based farmers are likely to feel the benefits of Trump tariffs.
I'm an active optimist, so what I'm hoping is that this latest global trade war drama shines a light on what a fragile system it is, and that no matter how long this goes on, if we get more of this sort of thing happening, the only winners are the multinationals, and it's never the farmers who win in these situations, and it's certainly not consumers in the supermarkets either. So I'm hoping the government goes, oh wow, maybe all this free trade is not quite so good and we should protect our markets, our farmers as well, and maybe support more local production in particular, and don't only focus on export. That's what I'm hoping.